Okay, we live Facebook. Let's get Instagram going. Okay, start. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Are we live? We are getting things going. Getting things working. You try and do a live out of your kitchen. This is what happens. Okay, so we've got Facebook going live. We've got Instagram going live. So if you see us looking back and forth, that's why we just want to, hey, waving back, Cella Star. Sorry, I'm probably butchering that wrong. Thanks for being here. So yeah, hopefully we've got, if you can let us know if you can hear us on Facebook, that would be great. We're so happy to join you for our weekly food allergy chats. I am Megan, and I am the owner over at the blog Allergy, Awesomeness, and this is my husband.
My name is Claudia.
Oh, hello, Lesley. Sorry, our cameras are kind of far away, so if you see us leaning in, that's why. Hello, Lesley. Thanks for waving. Thanks for being here. We love to start these off with just saying a random tidbit about ourselves, especially because it gives more people time to join. And then it's just kind of fun to see if you have any connections with us. Like last week, we found out, hey Bronx, Hot Sauce, that's a cool name. Hey Diva. So yeah, last week we found out my husband actually knew, or was it grew up with? Went to Boys and Girls Club with? How did it work?
Same town.
Someone
that I know from the town that I
Hey Kimberly. Thanks.
lived in.
Yeah, and go figure, like, they have an EOE kid, we have an EOE kid, they're still in Boston, we're out here in Utah, so you just never know. So, for my random tidbit, thank you, Kimberly, letting us know. Excellent. Hi. I just thought I would do, what would be, like, my bucket list concert I would go to? And I have to split it into two, because obviously Michael Jackson, we're huge Michael Jackson house. We were just cleaning, listening to him, like, a half an hour ago. If, you know, dead or alive. And then next it'd be Beyonce, because I basically want to be Beyonce. I didn't love her Lemonade album. That's neither here nor there. But I've loved her since junior high, Destiny's Child. Bills, bills, bills. Okay? So, what about you?
So we're doing bucket list concert?
Yeah. I'm sure he loves it that I spring these questions on him.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Jackson, I never was able to go to his concert. That would have been nice to have gone to, being an 80s child. That was like my first record, vinyl record, not tape or CD, at the age of like 4.
Back in the day.
I don't know who I would go to nowadays, but I would say, yeah, that would have been.
That would have been your bucket list?
My bucket list. So
Janet would still be good. She carries on the Jackson name. I wouldn't mind Janet. You? Yeah. I'd drag you with me anyways. Okay, so as we do every week, we talk about all things food allergy related. So our oldest son has multiple food allergies. There's actually 10 anaphylactic ones. Let's see if I can do it off the top of my head. Peanut, tree nut, milk, egg, shellfish. Well, milk and dairy is the same thing.
You always just say milk.
Yeah, milk or dairy. See, now you threw me off. Beef, lentils, oats, goat's milk. And now I can't think of the 10th. Anyways, then our second, and
nuts.
He also has...
Tree nuts.
I said those right first. And then he also has asthma and EOE, which are all allergic conditions. And then our second oldest, we have 3 kids, has peanuts and tree nuts. And then our baby is so small, we're still figuring out what she's going to have. So we will find out. Everyday allergen free. Hey, know you. Welcome. Recognize your name. Hey, Brent Erwin Egbert. Thanks for joining.
You need to say dad?
No, it sounds cooler if I say his full name. So we deal with kind of a spectrum of different ages and allergies, and we know as allergy parents you can really feel unvalidated and sometimes all alone when you're dealing with things, because it's not just a medical condition, it deals with social and emotional issues. So not that we always know everything, thanks for the thumbs up, but we love to share our experiences so that you can see how another family manages it, and so we can chat, like you guys can chat amongst yourselves, share the knowledge you have. We want this to be a community that can be helpful to you guys. So we ask for questions ahead of time, so we'll start with that, but by all means, ask questions as we go because we want this to be as helpful to you as it can be. So one topic, well, first of all, I feel like just personally in our lives, it was like a big allergic week. Just in the sense of we tried a new allergist. Last week we've been with the same one since our first was like 10 months old. We still love him. If anyone's in the Salt Lake area, you probably know who we go to, but it's like 45 minutes away and there was a newer one and we just wanted to try him out. So we did some more prick testing. If you follow me on Instagram, I showed that on my Instagram story. I also joined a webinar with AviQ. If you guys have heard, they are coming out with a injector for like really, really little kids. AviQ, I hope I'm not like misspeaking, but anyways, it's something from like 16 pounds.
30 pounds.
Thank you. Yeah, I had it on speaker. He was listening. So that's cool. That's super cool to have one that is meant for just that age and a smaller needle, because that's always a big fear of mine, is that I'm gonna like hit one of their leg bones. See how anatomy smart I am, a leg bone, when I'm administering it. So that was exciting. And then we had 2 birthday parties to go to and deal with, and that can be a lot of stress and stuff going on. So it was a big kind of food allergy centered week for us. So let us know if there's anything going on in your neck of the woods that was happening regarding food allergies. I mean, I feel like every day in some aspect there is, right? What you eat, what you don't eat, reading labels. But let's start with birthday parties. What do you feel like would be important to say about birthday parties, or that you've noticed throughout all the plethora of invites that we've gotten?
I don't know. I've never been to a birthday party, but from what I've noticed is what Megan tries to do is communicating with whoever's birthday it is, or that's throwing it, that our son has a food allergy. And usually she tries to bring an allergy safe option for our son, whether it's a muffin or a cupcake. So
yeah. So he has odd hours, so I am usually the one going by myself. Hey, Tay3, okay, thanks for joining. So it's true. I feel like you kind of see the prep, and then he usually hears the aftermath afterwards. So I'm sure it's a very different perspective than what I have. But we've kind of been at an interesting crossroads where our son is still young, elementary. So most of the birthday parties that we have attended thus far have been family, friends, neighborhood people, church people that we knew previously. And it's been interesting the last couple of years where he's gotten sent home some invitations in his backpack, from classmates. And hey, no dairy, no egg, not vegan. I understand. We can't do dairy eggs either, but we definitely eat some bacon. So regardless, we've talked about it. We always try and make it a joint decision, but I haven't ever sent him to a classroom party yet. I just feel like I don't know not that it's not doable, but where he's so young, I don't feel like he really knows what he's missing out on. And most of the time we have something going on the weekends anyways. And so I always thank them for the invite and then just say, we can't make it, because I feel like we already have so many birthdays. Don't you feel like that? It's like, oh, it's so-and-so's birthday. Maybe it's just because I do lots of prep, but I feel like we already have so many birthdays to attend, and it's just like the stress of one more, especially working with people I don't know and who might not understand. We've just said no thank you. When he gets older, I'm sure he'll push back on that. He'll probably want to go to some because he's really good friends with them. But that's just a bridge we have not chosen to cross yet. Because at all the birthday parties we've attended, they know us previously. They're like, oh yeah, what can he have? Or what can we accommodate with? Or will you be bringing something? So that's kind of been a nice, what would you call that? Precursor? I don't know. Background, I guess, to the birthdays. I feel like I'm doing all the talking. Yep. So feel free to jump in.
You're the birthday person.
I am, but your insight on it is valuable too. So the next thing is I will do like a big batch of cupcakes, and then I'll freeze them because, like I mentioned, I feel like there's a good amount of birthday parties. And so it just gets tiresome having to whip up a new batch every time there's a birthday party. So freeze them. Sometimes I'll freeze the frosting. Sometimes I'll like to make it from scratch because then I get to eat it in like the bowl. Or else I'll do just a half batch recipe, but that's nice because that way he has his own cupcake to take. I tried making a cake one time and then just like sending him with a slice, but I felt like it was more portable and he liked kind of how cute it was with like the sprinkles and the swirled frosting. I noticed the time I sent him with a cake, he was kind of like, it's just a slice, and he just didn't seem as excited about it. Do you remember? It was Gray's birthday. I told you about that. Yeah, because, that's the hard thing is, like, birthday cakes are super cute, right? Like, they bought them at a bakery, and they're just all pimped out. And so just, like, a random piece of cake, it was awkward to carry, and I feel like he didn't really care for it. So, what do you do? But I actually, should we share, like, my mom brain from this weekend?
Go for it.
So it was a super busy weekend, and we had 2 birthday parties this Saturday, and I remembered I sent the cupcake with him, and then the second one, he said he was sick of cupcakes, so I had this specialty cookie from a bakery that I had got, and he said that's what he wanted to be a second treat, and it was like an hour away. It was like my best friend, so we drove, got there, and I was like, I left it at home, so I felt real bad. So everyone's having cake, and he's like, oh, cool, I have nothing. And thankfully, I always keep some Dum-Dums in my car, just for, like, bribery, or for trips, or different things. And so I was like, okay, you can have one of these, and then I'll let you have your cookie when we get home. And thankfully, he's a really chill kid, because he didn't throw a tantrum, and he was like, okay. I think it helped that there was like a million kids and there was lots of toys running around, so he was able to just have fun, and it wasn't totally like sit down and eat the cake. Everyone just kind of ate as they wanted it to, so that helped too. That wasn't just like he was the only one sitting there. So that was fun. But do you remember what that one kid said about his frosting?
What did he say?
Oh, okay. So at the first birthday party where I did send a cupcake, I did not make the time to make a homemade frosting, so I used like kind of a store-bought, I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's so delicious. I'm gonna pimp them for free because we like them so much. But it's the Lecco. It's the L-E, do you remember how to spell it? L-E-K-K-O. It's really delicious. It's a nut-free, dairy-free. It tastes like Nutella to me. It's like a chocolate spread. So anyways, I put that on top. That looked real cute. Sent it with him. So when he gets home, I always like to be like, did you like your cupcake? You know, try to make him feel good about the homemade treat that he got to bring. And he was like, oh, some kids said that my frosting looked funny. Do you remember what I said?
No.
Your memory's on point tonight. My first thought was, did you punch the kid in the throat? And that's what I wanted to ask him. But then I was like, no, that's really mean. So my second thought was, well, did you tell him you look funny? Because I thought that was a little less mean. But then I held my tongue. I tried to remember I was the adult. I don't want to start that with my kid. But it's hard, right? Like, it's really hard as an allergy parent when you feel like, you know, this was like a little taste of like a kid singling him out or like making fun or pointing out the differences. So that was kind of hard. That was like a little ping to my allergy mom guilt, right? Where you're like, oh, why do kids? And then I think you have to just, I don't know, how do you take that situation? Like, what would you have done if you were home and he would have said that?
Probably try to ask him how he felt about it.
Yeah.
And validate him on that feeling. 'Cause I'm sure any kid doesn't want to feel different, so probably in that moment, you know, he felt different because his peer had pointed out something that he noticed about the frosting or something that he didn't like, which is probably why he mentioned it to you.
Yeah. It's hard. It's so hard when you feel like, you know, he probably already, it looks different, and then to have like someone point it out. But like you said, I think we're quick to like put our own emotions and feelings on it, and it's important to like stop and not feed into that or like tell them what they should be feeling, like, oh, how rude or how mean, because maybe he didn't see that way. Maybe he was like, oh, he was noticing it. So, like I said, I had all those mean thoughts in my mind, and I bit my tongue, and I was just like, oh, how did that make you feel? And I was like, did that bother you? And he was like, no, I was like, oh, good. Yeah, of course not. Why would it? You know? So I was glad that I'm learning from my husband to just more ask questions than just assume and put feelings and emotions on it, because just because I'm feeling that way doesn't always mean that he's feeling that way. And I was like, and did you try it? Did you like it? And he was like, yeah, it was good. And I'm like, yeah, that kid was crazy. He doesn't know what he's missing. So that's kind of how we chose to handle it. So Lesley has a good point. Yes, it's good to arm them with the tools to deal with when kids notice the food looks weird or different. Yes, I totally agree, because kids are going to mention it, right? Like, it's not always, I mean, I try my darndest, okay? Oh, hey, Sherry. To have it look the same, right? Like, if it's Dad's with donut day, I'm trying to make donuts, you know, and if they're having cupcakes at the party, I try and make cupcakes. And, you know, we do our best, I think, as allergy moms to mimic, but there's not always, like, I can't produce a Twinkie. I mean, I guess I could if I spent all day in the kitchen. So you just try and get them the closest substitute they can. I always try and make it something that he's excited about. Maybe something he doesn't get all the time. Like, I don't make cupcakes just for fun. So that way when he has a cupcake, it's like, ooh, I haven't had a cupcake in a while. So even though those other kids' cupcakes look different, like, I can be excited in this moment because I like my mom's chocolate cupcakes. What are you smirking about?
Bex, I like the reply that your daughter gives. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't get a special one.
That's nice. Yeah, and we do try and tell him, like, oh, you have special chocolate, or you have safe chocolate. We try and use kind of those terms with him. And then, like, so we got home from the birthday party that I forgot to bring the special treat, right, this weekend, because mom brain. We were also an hour late to the party. I totally thought it was at 2:30, and it was actually at 3:30. I was hashtag winning this weekend, okay? This is why I need him home on the weekends, because my brain was just fried from the long week. And, you know, usually we were like, go to bed, it's late. And so I was like, you can stay up, you can have your cookie. And our second one was able to have the cake there because there was no peanuts or tree nuts in it. And he was like, I want a cookie too. And so we tried to make it fair. Like, I was like, well, you got your treat at the party. I know it might feel unfair to see him eat it in front of you, but think how he felt being the one not eating while you were eating your cupcake. So I think it's a really good opportunity to teach that empathy. Like, oh yeah, he didn't get a chance to eat at the party, so now he's getting his chance. And I think that's a good opportunity to learn. Were you going to say something?
No.
Glad my parent words come out instead of my first. Yes, right? Like, you want to say, like, punch the kid in the throat. And you're like, oh, wait, that's not the lesson I want to teach here today. But that, like, that mama bear instinct, like that knee jerk, you know? That's why I'm learning really, really well to bite my tongue, because at the end of the day, that's not what you want to do. Yep, you do the same. Glad we're not the only, or at least I'm not the only allergy mom that deals with that. Oh, okay, sorry, Kimberly. I loved on our last birthday invitation, it said we will be serving pizza and cupcakes at the party. Please let us know if you have any special dietary needs. Oh, sorry, I think there's more. I loved this because I felt comfortable bringing up allergies and felt they would be aware and cautious. It is still hard knowing he'll have to have something different, but I'm glad he was included instead of excluded due to allergies. That is so cool, Kimberly. I'm glad you had that experience. It just, you know, and like someday it might be a diabetic kid that can't have sugar, or someday, like, there's all sorts of medical reasons and different abilities, disabilities, and it's just so good, I think, to get in that mindset of like, I'm inviting a bunch of kids over to my house and I don't know their backgrounds. How can I be accommodating? And so that's really cool that family did that. I always call the family. Claudia was mentioning this early, you know, like, what are you going to be serving? Like, I get kind of nervous on the invite if it will be like, it's over like a meal time, you know, if it's like 11 to 1 or, you know, 5 to 7, because then I'm like, oh, it's going to include a meal. Like, it's already like a lot to come up with cupcakes from scratch and frosting from scratch. So I always hope it's like those parties that's just cake and ice cream, because, you know, then I can run to Sprouts, get some safe ice cream, pull out a cupcake from the freezer, call it good. If not, I'm running to Sprouts again to get him the only safe pizza. Shout out if you know another one that, you know, is gluten, dairy, egg. Because I feel like you can find a lot of gluten-free pizzas now, but one that's gluten and egg-free and dairy-free is like so difficult. So the only ones that we found, at least here in Utah, I know some people might have some better shopping options, like East Coast is the Daya pizza. So I'll run and grab that and make it for him. But then, yeah, you're like trying to keep it hot, and then you like got the birthday present and the cupcake and the pizza, and it's just like, it's a whole thing. So yeah, I always call and find out, because I don't want to just send him with like a treat and then him be like, there was a meal served and I was starving while everyone was eating pizza. So yeah, I think that's so smart, and how nice of the parents to initiate the conversation. So super cool, Kimberly. Thanks for sharing that. So yeah, so you hope for the no meals. And this last birthday party, the mom was super cool, and she was like, hey, we're gonna, what do you call those things where you put the toothpicks and you try and build like a tower?
Cabin?
It's a boy thing. Kind of, yeah.
Tower?
Yeah, you build a tower. And she was like, what candy could I use, to put it together? And I was like, oh, he could do marshmallows or dots or Starburst. And she was really thoughtful, and that's what she used to make sure that he was included. I mean, not that my second even built anything with it, he just shoved them all in his mouth, but sorry, she was trying to make the game inclusive, and then he didn't even play by the rules, but that was really sweet of her, so I always appreciate that. And you know, there have been times where I felt bad because parents have tried to include him, like they bought a special ice cream for him, and then he's been like, I don't even want ice cream. And that's totally happened. Like, I've gone to, okay, have any of you seen my Venus flytrap cupcakes? Okay, you know what I'm talking about. I adore those cupcakes. I think they're so cute, but they're a decent amount of work, like, you know.
Because of icing?
Well, no, the icing's not that hard. It's like, it's taking the strawberry and drawing on like the little mouth and the teeth and stuff.
With icing?
Yeah, with, well, chocolate and icing.
Chocolate and icing.
But it's okay. Like, it's fun to do. Like, sometimes it's fun to have a baking project. And I remember I was like so proud, and I was, sent it with him, and then he ate like half. And the mom, who's really good friends with me, was like, do you want this? It seems like you put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this. Or am I okay to throw the other half away? So, sometimes it's hard to like not have your ego in it. Like when I found out, I stayed up till midnight making a cupcake so you could have something to take to a party, and then you didn't even eat it, because he's just like so interested in the games or whatever. But such is life, right? Like, I would definitely rather send him with something and have him not be interested than have him, feel like there's nothing for him to eat. So you win some, you lose some, right? Yeah, thumbs up. Exactly, Lesley. So we've all done it. We've all been there. So on and so forth. But are there any other hurdles that you guys have run across with birthday parties? I mean, I know with every invite, you're like, oh, okay, here comes some work. It's hard to keep the stress level down, but I don't want to ever model that stress, so my son doesn't look forward to birthday parties. Like, I want him to have the typical childhood where it's like, oh, it's Tommy's birthday, I can't wait, what present should we get him? So I realize that I'm putting a lot of my own emotion into it, and for him it should just be as simple as, I'm excited to go spend time with my friends, and if I have to go to extra work, so be it.
I made so many things that were a ton of work and then were flops.
Yeah, I hear you, Lesley. That's like half the reason why I started my site, right? Is like, how many times as allergy moms have we been mad scientists in the kitchen, and then it's just like awful. It doesn't look right, it doesn't smell right. How many flops have you eaten?
No, countless.
Yeah, thank you. Many a flop.
But, I mean, it probably depends what you define as flops, but I'm sure when trying to please a child,
do that too.
There's a lot of vulnerability in that, and that's usually most of the frustration for Megan is trying to help him adjust and feel comfortable in those times where there's not necessary appreciation or concern being expressed.
Yeah.
So I can't really think of a time, you may, where it necessarily flopped. But
because you have this idea in your head, what you want it to look like and be like. But, and that's why I started my site, because I felt like, okay, the times when a recipe turns out, like, it needs to be shared so other allergy moms can have a trusted recipe and not, be crying in their kitchen. Because it's hard. Food allergy ingredients are expensive. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. Then the cleanup, it's a process.
yeah, that's scary.
Oh, okay. So we had a kid come in eating something that she was allergic to and handing the gift to her. We had to do a quick wipe down. Whew. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Depending on if your kids are contact reactive, for those watching who don't know what that is, some people have the anaphylaxis episode if they ingest it. Some do if they just touch it. There is a possibility if they were to touch it and then touch like a mucous membrane, like pick their nose or touch their eyeball, it can still enter your system or your mouth. So I can totally see why that would be worrisome. We use bleach wipes like crazy. We keep bleach wipes around. In fact, I'm picking up some more at the grocery store tomorrow. But yeah, I know certain allergy families that have the rule, just like you come in our house, you wash your hands. Like that's just like taking your shoes off, you know, just to make, especially with kids where they're all touching the same toys. It's just a good way to start from scratch and make sure everyone's kind of on ground zero. So I don't think that's always a bad option. I feel like a lot of our friends in our community know, like, oh, we didn't eat peanut butter today or whatever. I mean, with our oldest, it's kind of impossible to be like, did you eat peanuts, tree nuts, oats, you know, shellfish, lentils, beef, like, so it's kind of hard to check with all of them, but I feel like they all try really hard to be accommodating. And I think that kind of goes back to our last Q&A about like being vulnerable, well, and having friends and family that you trust, and like those that you keep in your circle and those that you trust to eat food around and stuff like that. Like we keep really thoughtful people in our circle that are always willing to accommodate. So made your Korean chicken the other night and my whole house gobbled it up. Woo, woo. Thank you. That's a family favorite, won't you say?
It's not her favorite.
I know. You know what's funny is...
That's what she should have said. It's not her favorite. But yes, the family likes it.
I like it, obviously, but it's not my fave.
She doesn't think it's the best. So thank you. That validates me when I tell her that. And our kids, when we tell her that it's good.
It's good, but yeah, there's lots of... to me, I want to always be trying something new. So I keep it in the rotation for the boys, but... yeah, I'm like, oh, let's try something new. And they're like, Korean chicken. So we've eaten it a lot. And I'm so glad. Happy to help out another allergy family. So thank you. Feels good. Glad to know it's working for you guys.
So how do you decide what parties you leave the kids by themselves?
Good question. I think there's only been maybe one party I've left the kids at. And shout out Carrie and Scott. And there's probably other people I would have left the kids with, but it's either like I like those parents and so I want to stay and chat, or like this weekend they lived far enough. No, this weekend I did leave them at Abby's.
Mm-hmm. So how do you decide that?
They're okay. Is anyone here a Brene Brown fan? Right, like oh, I don't know what language that is. Is that French? Yeah, Spanish? No, so, sorry, I don't know what that says. Okay, so anyways, back to Brene Brown. She talks a lot about, like, trust and emotional safety, and I like the explanation that she gives. I'm sorry, I keep looking up at this camera because it's more eye level, but hey, Facebook, I haven't forgotten about you. So she talks about when she's trying to explain to her daughter about, like, someone who's emotionally safe. And she was talking about the little girl was telling her how in their class that every time they do something good, they would get like a marble in the jar, right? Okay. And then if they had so many marbles, it's very typical elementary school bribery, then they would get a reward. So she used that analogy with her daughter to teach it her daughter. And she was like, when people in your circle, friends, teachers, adults, do something nice and good for you, or trustworthy to you, they get a marble in your like emotional safety jar. And so the people who show up time and time again get more and more marbles, and those people that earn a lot of marbles are like your safety circle, right? So so that's kind of how I look at it, is have they shown a pattern of consistency? Have they shown up in so many ways? Have they asked enough questions? Do I feel like they're understanding enough that I can leave them with it? Are they EpiPen trained? That's huge. You know, I always send my boys to the birthday parties with a backpack on that's got their asthma inhaler, it's got their EpiPens, and the mom at the birthday party, her daughter has a peanut allergy. So, and she's always been super thoughtful. She was the one that was asking, you know, what safe treats can I bring? Mm-hmm. So I left them there, and then another family, they did the food at the house, and then they went to like a pumpkin patch. It was in the fall. And so I was like, okay, there shouldn't be food there. And it was quite far, and I had something going on at the same time. And they have watched our kids millions of times. They're very, very safe. So that's kind of why I felt comfortable. But it will be a bridge to cross, 100% for sure. Because, you know, like I mentioned, our kids are young, elementary age. And so I like chatting with the parents. It's still cool to have your mom come, I hope. So we usually, you know, the adults are in the back, the kids are off at some bounce house or other things. So I have had the luxury of being able to attend. And honestly, that will be, I don't know, how do you think we'll handle it in the future?
Handle what?
If we attend the birthday party or not.
I don't know. That's always curious how you decide which ones you attend versus that you don't.
Well,
I know there's some you've attended and some of them you don't. So
clearly this is like a bridge we still need to discuss and cross, but I just feel like it's going to really depend on how our child chooses to show up. And if they are being very aware and asking questions, is this safe, and being willing to take their EpiPens, as well as, because I think it needs to be a two-pronged approach, right? Like, is the family safe? They're not going to be pushing or pressuring our child. They're like, oh, it's fine, and they haven't even looked at the label, or letting our son read. Like, is he old enough to read? Is he old enough to understand what all the different words are, may contain, and the different things? And then, are they going to be safe and call me or check, or, you know? And so, like, then I think it'll come down to, well, either mom comes with you if you haven't been responsible in the past, or you don't go, you know. And I just think there have to be, once you say, those kind of boundaries in place. Because at the end of the day, like, as badly as we want our kids to fit in, as badly as we want them to have a good time at the birthday party, like, nothing's worth their safety.
Okay.
So, that would be my thoughts. I don't know. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Okay, done. Cross that off the list of parenting things to figure out together, right? So, anyways, we are going to try and keep these around 9:30. Are there any other birthday questions or comments? Because I know that this is a topic that comes up a lot in the food allergy community. So, now is your chance. But we thank you guys. We appreciate the comments and the feedback so much. This week, be looking out. I'm going to be posting a delicious chocolate chip muffin recipe. We had it how many days ago? Like Sunday?
Yesterday.
For breakfast? Yes. Yesterday, Monday? Yeah, yesterday. Mom brain's still happening. I've had this goal of, like, we have church later in the afternoon. Our church time, like, changes every year. So everyone can have, like, rotate at our church building. And so that's been my goal, to make muffins every Sunday, just as kind of a fun breakfast thing. So that was a winner. I think we all liked it. And so I will get that up live. Be looking for that. And then obviously you can find me on these social media channels that you are watching live on. I always, Instagram, if you're not familiar, this will only be live for 24 hours. Facebook, I always keep it there, so you can always find these afterwards, or on my YouTube channel. And be sure to come back next week. And you can ask questions anytime throughout the week, and we will try and address them then. Did I forget anything?
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay, thanks everyone. Appreciate you joining in. Take care.
Have a good night.
Bye.